Hello, everyone. Sandra Horton. I'm so excited today that I get to come to you and having a very important conversation. It's a conversation that for me involves my heart, and I hope it touches your heart too, because today's conversation is a really powerful one. And I do thank you for joining me today. You know, as we approach the close of 2024, many of us have come to this year looking at challenges and accomplishments, wanting to share, a way of how have I gotten to where I am today? What has worked? What hasn't worked? And for some of us to navigate that disappointment with resilience and grace. You know, disappointment is part of life, isn't it? It is truly part of being left out for me, for others, for being overlooked or realizing you haven't hit all of your goals. It's a shared human experience that we all have. But here's one thing, truly one thing. What matters most is how you and we respond. As a leadership coach from my own journey, I know this. That disappointment can become a powerful teacher and a stepping stone to personal growth. I want to share with you over the next 10 to 15 minutes a few strategies. So in this first part, I want to share how we can understand disappointment first. We must acknowledge the triggers. You know, disappointment often arises in those moments when we feel perhaps left out, unrecognized, or overwhelmed by what's left on our to-do list. I've personally felt this sting of being overlooked in my leadership and opportunities, and in facing particularly this year end where I had these goals. I had so many goals and things I wanted to achieve. Many I have, but some I haven't. One of my most powerful goals is I wanted to be speaking 4 times, being on stages to really share, to help others, to empower them to become conscious leaders. And when I'm hitting up against that trigger and not getting invitations to share and to speak, wow, that really impacts me. I have to look at the emotional and psychological impact of this. So for myself as a leadership coach and in working with my clients, there is a weight of disappointment that we all carry. We need to look in and lean into and understand that if we choose, we can either lead to some more frustrations or we can stop it. If we don't stop the disappointment, it can lead to self-doubt and a lot of negative thoughts. The importance of learning to touch in and own our emotions. We must take back control. We must take back control. What does that mean? It means going within and understanding to be able to shift our perspective to say, hey, wait a minute, let's stop. Let's stop and look at what's happening. I need to shift my perspective from reacting from my primitive mind to my more conscious, responsive brain to build resilience. Here are a few strategies that I have found that have helped me. And most recently, I've had an experience that really triggered me, and it triggered almost all the way back to an early childhood memory of being, feeling a sense of lack of belonging. First of all, here's the biggest lessons. Take a breath. Well, I've learned the hard way that we need to also take a breath and learn to identify the emotions that you're feeling right now. Give yourself and create space to process rather than react. I know I had that moment when I just had this recent experience. Whew, boy, was I triggered. I had to look at these experiences as not setbacks, but as opportunities to grow. The frustration in that moment was I just wanted to lash out, but I had to regain my perspective. I had to stop and breathe. I also had to stop the negative self-talk. I don't know how many of you have had that experience when something triggers you. I remember a time when I was, again, just recently thinking about this, going, why was I left out? I reflected back to my childhood. I was left out a lot of different things. I couldn't understand it. But as an emotional intelligence practitioner, I realized those ways of being, those emotions that are deeply ingrained in me of feeling that sense of lack or being left out, being disappointed, came from those early childhoods. I had to shift my awareness. I had to shift to understand I'm not going to react as that old child, as that younger version of myself. I needed to stop and activate myself, activate success as a grown woman. I had to re-anchor myself into a more positive space. And being able to do that is transformative. Just to stop, as I said earlier, breathe. Just ground yourself in the knowledge. You can do this. And practice gratitude. If we're feeling disappointed, if we can just stop and look, and many of my mentors like Rex Sykes and others have always graciously intrigued me with their ability to show gratitude and to teach others to have gratitude. And in those hardest of moments, stop and look at what is great around. Right now, look around. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you experience? And see setbacks as tools, as ways of learning. Because in gratitude, we shift that state. We shift to see the positive and not fill our mind with that negative. We also have to reframe our narrative. What I mean by that is when major, as an example, as major projects or major things are happening in your life, maybe in your work environment, we have to understand that our timelines may not be the right timelines. We have to redirect and understand with flexibility and adaptability, with conscious leadership practices to say, hey, wait a second, maybe my timeline wasn't realistic. What can I do differently to make things more reasonable, appropriate, so that I can help others to come along in that journey and not see us missing targets or missing deadlines or things like that as a miss, as something that isn't positive. It's always a positive because we're learning from it. We also have to learn and build emotional and physical wellness. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of stuff on the socials right now about emotional wellness. Emotional wellness is and encompasses all of us. We must be able to use our emotions for purpose. And as an emotional intelligence practitioner, this is the one thing that many people miss. There's so much to understanding emotions. And so number one, name it. Understand, where are you feeling it? Is it in your heart, gut, brain? Where is it that you're feeling your emotions? Identify it in words and write it out. And then find new ways to align yourself with new ways of responding. Also, in our book, Activate Success, Tips, Tools, and Insights to be a Leader, if you're misaligned with your values, can lead to stressors and can lead to burnout. So understand those values underlining these reactions and make a point to choose to become more self-aware, aware of these emotions, aware of the things that are happening for you in this moment. Also, take time to have physical wellness. And what I mean by that is learning to value the connection between your physical health and your leadership. Physical health is so important. What are you doing right now? Are you able to go for a walk? And if you can't, can you sit on your chair and do a walk? Whatever it is, do a yoga session, meditate, do something that is helpful and supportive of your body. Because we feel this, we experience disappointment throughout our body. If we don't take care of our body, those impacts from frustration and disappointment will anchor into us on a cellular level. We need to make and truly invite our body into a more happy relationship. For spiritual wellness, if you're feeling stuck, ask yourself, journal, reconnect with your why. Why are you here? What are you doing? In our book, we also talk about who am I? How do I get there? How do I stay there? These are different aspects of that why. Understand, and with clarity, with the right mindset, get clear of why you're here and align to that greater calling and purpose in your life. In our psychological wellness, again, it's our thinking. We are not our thoughts. Our beautiful mind is a servant. Know that you can reprogram your subconscious mind so much more than you could ever anticipate or imagine but it takes a choice with intention to shift, gain new perspectives. Understand that in these moments with disappointment that shows up at the end of the year or wherever you are in your journey right now, understand that with action, with purposeful action, to understand all of our uniqueness, to understand that you can reprogram yourself on this journey. And as a leadership coach, I would invite you with curiosity. What is something that you can do today that's different? If you're still in that disappointment phase or feeling it, then again, go into gratitude. What is new? What could bring in brightness and happiness and joyfulness into your life? And then take that back into a situation that may be disappointing to you. Did it change? Revisit a dream. Forgive yourself for all that you've done or not done, and setting a more smaller, realistic goal for this December. What can you do right now that will help you move forward? That will move you from disappointed or feeling stuck to imagine what could it look like if all things worked out? What is a more realistic goal or opportunity for you right now to reframe how you look at your disappointment? Reframe on what you can do and what you can achieve in any moment. So I ask you, this is an opportunity. What has resonated for you from this quick share, this coffee chat? As I pull up my mug again, what's one key takeaway? I should have a sip. Let's have a sip together, shall we? Share in this moment. What really resonated for you? What is one thing that you can do today? What is one thing that would connect to your heart to lead and navigate disappointment with heart? Get out of your brain, connect your heart to your mind, to that higher calling and consciousness, and you too will shift. Thank you again for dropping in, visiting, and I look forward to you finishing with success in 2024 with resilience and hope and with heart, because you can. That's the most wonderful, beautiful gift that we can actually give ourselves, is the knowledge that we are resourceful from within. And we can, and we will, achieve all things that are meant for us and to be a gift to the world. Thank you again. Enjoy your coffee morning. Bye for now.